Welcome. Get set up for your yoga practice, whether you're sitting or laying down. Allow yourself to use any props so that you get a little more comfortable. So if you need something to sit on for the hips, please feel free to grab something such as a blanket or a pillow or maybe a bolster. If you're laying down, you might want something underneath of the knees, or you might want to have something underneath of the head. And just take a moment. Settle in. Begin to close your eyes to the room. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Begin to settle in a little bit more, relaxing and grounding the body into the floor, into the ground. And no matter where you are, just lengthen the spine. Just feel that nice lengthening. And begin to relax the face, letting go of tension in the forehead, in the eyes, and really soften that jaw so there's a little space between the teeth. Soften and relax the shoulders, as well as the hands and the feet. And see if you can start to just let go of those thoughts and those stories. It's not always easy, and we practice it. That's why you're here. And so just become aware of when that mind wanders, when it travels somewhere else. And see if, when you notice that, if you can start to redirect that awareness and even that energy back to yourself. And to help you stay focused and in the here and the now, connect with your breathing. Let it be your anchor. Following that in-breath as it enters the body, swirls around, and comes right back out through the exhale. Now deepen that breath, lengthening and deepening that inhale, and lengthening and deepening that exhale. And just begin to do that. Don't let tension come back into the jaw or the shoulders. Keep them relaxed. And just breathe. Now create a little bit of engagement, drawing your navel, that belly button, back towards the spine. As you engage this little bit of area, come back to your deep breath, but soften the shoulders and relax the jaw. And notice how it feels to have this engagement in place. What's changed? Now draw the hands into prayer. Relax the shoulders. Take a deep breath. And set an intention for today's practice. Find what calls to you and honor it. Once you have set that intention, repeat it back to yourself. Seal it in your heart space. And when you're ready, just release the arms and open the eyes back to the room. Good, welcome back. So now, just gently come onto your backs. If you're there already, good job. As you come down, start by drawing the knees in towards the chest. Wrap the arms around and give yourself a little rock side to side. Make sure the head is on the mat and allow the head to rock along with those hips. This helps to just relieve any tension that you might be holding in the back, in the shoulders, or even in the neck. Good. Breathe deep. And slow the movement coming back to center. Good. Now, draw your arms out at T and let your feet come back down to the floor, to the mat, and then walk those feet wide. So we're getting set up for windshield wipes. Tuck the chin, straight line from the finger to the shoulder, out through the other shoulder and into that finger. Good. As the feet are wide, spread and lift those toes, and then start to release those toes back down. Now don't forget to create a little bit of core engagement. Deep breath in and exhale, knees to the right, and just kind of start to gaze to the left if it's there for you. Sometimes it's not, and that's okay. Sometimes it's a small movement. Sometimes even keeping the head straight, you can maybe just gaze with the eyes to the left to give your eyes a little bit of stretching as well. Inhale, come back to center, knees and head. Tuck the chin, create that core engagement. Now knees to the left, gaze to the right. And again, maybe the head doesn't want to move. Maybe it's a slight movement, or maybe it's just the eyes looking to the right. Don't strain. Breathe. Come back to center. Realign, tucking the chin, drawing in the core. Exhale to the right. Gaze to the left. Now just begin to flow through these movements, going at your own pace. Don't feel rushed. Just check in, see what's happening as you come into each different part of the posture. Good. One more side to side. Don't feel rushed. Keep breathing. Keep checking in. And the next time your knees decide to come over to the right, I shouldn't say decide, but once they're over to the right, pause here. Check in. If you're drawing shoulders up, relax them. If the jaw is tense, soften it. A little bit of core just to help create some stability, some effort. And breathe deep in and deep out. One more deep breath and come back up to center. Feet still wide, core still engaged, tuck in the chin. Now knees to the left, gaze to the right. Breathe deep, check in. Where's your effort? Where's your ease? What's happening on this side? One more deep breath and come back to center. Then walk the feet closer together. Now allow the feet to come together and the knees to come out wide. Come into a place where the heels maybe come in and you feel comfortable, maybe a little bit away, kind of tucking that tailbone so the low belly comes in and that low back starts to go down towards the mat. So sometimes that's why that feet position might change kind of what you feel and where you feel a little more stable. Arms still out at T, but now flip the palms up. Tuck the chin. Add a little bit of engagement through your glutes and through your thighs by engaging. It's going to feel like you're really opening those hips a little bit deeper. Then inhale, draw those thighs together, feet on the mat. Reach the arms up. The shoulders are going to come off of the mat. As the feet are grounding down, feel that low back coming down to the mat, but also feel the shoulders as they're coming away. Good. Start to open up. Arms out at T, feet together, knees wide, tuck the chin. Breathe deep, draw the core in, add that glute engagement if you need to, the thigh engagement. Same movement, start to come up, reaching the arms, thighs together, feet down on the mat. Feel the low back coming down to the mat. Now open back up, arms out at T, feet together. You can always hover the arms if you want a little extra effort through those arms, as I'm doing. And just begin to flow through these movements. Check in, just as we have been, to what's happening. When the legs and the arms come up and together, what's happening? What's happening when they open? Good. One more movement. Don't feel rushed. Take your time. The next time those legs come together and the arms reach up, pause. Don't pause your breathing though. Keep that breath deep. Check in. What's happening? Are the shoulders away from the mat and the hands reaching up? Are the thighs slightly engaged, feet grounding down? What's happening with the core? What's happening in the face? Good. Now open up. Arms can hover or relax on the mat or the floor. And sometimes we start to hover and then we just kind of need to release. So listen to that, especially if the shoulders are talking to you. Tuck the chin a little bit, create a little bit of engagement through the core, that low back, maybe even the glutes and the thighs. Feet grounding, pressing against each other. And breathe deep. Good, one more deep breath and draw the knees together, the knees in, wrap the arms around, give yourself a little hug, and maybe even a little rock side to side. Just whatever you might kind of need to release after that movement. Good, if you did a different movement, start to finish it up. Then however you come up to a seated posture, do so. So maybe it's crossing the ankles or rolling to one side, or maybe it's a little mixture of the two, and that's okay too. Good. So allow yourself to settle in, get into the seated position, and then all you're going to do is lengthen the legs out in front of you. And as you lengthen the legs out in front of you, lengthen up through the spine. Good. Reach the arms up and overhead, soften those shoulders, and exhale, come into a forward fold. Relax as you fold, soften the shoulders, tuck the chin a little bit. And it's okay if you need a little bend in the knees. Sometimes our hamstrings, sometimes our calves, and just other parts of our body talk to us. Good, come back up, reaching those arms up and overhead. Now see if you can use the core to just slowly start to bend the right knee so the foot comes onto the floor. Then open the hip and allow that foot to get as close as it can to the thigh. So if you need to release the hand to kind of bring it in, that's okay. Arms coming up, but soften the shoulders. A little rotation towards that left foot and fold into that leg. Good, soften and release. Gently come back up, reaching the arms up and overhead. Soften the shoulders, draw the knee gently in, lengthen the leg. Good. Exhale, fold into your legs. Again, a little bend in the knee is okay. Soften the shoulders, tuck the chin. Don't hold the arms up. Just breathe. Good. Slowly come back up, reaching the arms back up and overhead. Soften those shoulders. Slowly start to bend the left knee so the foot comes to the floor. And then open the knee, And again, if you need to use the hand to kind of bring that leg in, do so. But let that foot press into the thigh. Good. Activate this opposite foot, toe pointing up. A little bit of a shift to that side, so you're kind of rotated to the right and fold into that leg. Soften, let the arms relax, tuck the chin, let the head just kind of hang. Breathe deep. Good, come back up, reaching the arms back up and overhead. Keep drawing the core in, softening the shoulders, draw the knee in, and then lengthen the leg. Good, so I'm always gonna remind you of engagement, so try to always remind yourself as well. There might be moments when I skip something. Fold into the legs. As you're in that forward fold, soften and release. Good, come back up, reaching the arms up. Draw that right leg in, then open, letting that foot come to the thigh. Activate that left foot as though it's pressing against the wall, and then fold into that left leg. Soften the arms and relax the head. Come back up, keep using that core, reach the arms up, draw the leg in, and then lengthen it. Good, as we lengthen, we come into our next fold. Good, come back up, reaching the arms up and overhead. Draw that left knee in and then open, letting that foot press against the thigh. Engage that right foot, little rotation, use your core and fold into the legs. Soften the shoulders and the jaw and breathe deep. Good, slowly come up, draw that leg in, and lengthen, and fold. Soften and release, breathe deep, check in, what's changed, what's happening. Some of you might be like, ooh, I feel like I'm getting a little bit closer to my legs. Sometimes we start to notice sensations we were feeling starting to release. And sometimes we have the opposite effect happen. So just notice what's happening, where you need to add that effort, where you need to add that ease. Good, come back up. Reach the arms up one last time, just a little stretch up, and then release the arms down. Good. All right, now we're just gonna come to hands and knees. So if you need something for your knees, grab a blanket to draw underneath, or add extra padding by kind of folding that mat just a little bit in that area where the knees will be on the mat. If you need that for the wrist, you can do the same thing. All right, so hands flat on the mat. Spread the fingers. Knees underneath the hips. Feet parallel with each other, but kind of in line, so the ankles are in line with the knees. Sometimes our toes want to come together, sometimes they're a little wider, but create good alignment. Good, use your core, draw it in. Gaze down at the hands. Now tuck the chin, round the spine up. Good, toes together, knees wide to the long edges. Slowly draw your hips down towards your heels so you come into a child's pose. Let the head relax down the best it can, as well as the shoulders. Try not to hold any part of the body up. No tension needs to be created. Then inhale, come back up to hands and knees. Draw your knees back underneath of your hips so the body is back in alignment. Wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Now keep drawing the core in. Draw the shoulders though together so the top portion, the top part of your back kind of sinks a little bit, but that low back is lifted. Good. Now curl the toes. As you curl the toes, shift the weight back just a little bit, then hover the knees and lift them up. You're getting into a downward dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana, which is just kind of an upside down V. Now take a few moments, maybe lifting or pedaling the legs a few times just to kind of release. If you need to rotate the hands slightly so that you're not slipping, do so. Take a few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, come back down to hands and knees. Good, find your foundation, draw your core in. Now tuck the chin, round the spine, toes together, knees wide. Slowly sink back into that child's pose. So hips coming down towards your heels. Relax the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and breathe. Good. Slowly come back up to hands and knees. Knees back underneath the hips. Find your foundation. Wrist under shoulders. Draw the core in. Keep that low back lifted as you start to lower the top back because you're drawing the shoulders together. Good. Keep lifting through the low back. Draw the upper back, those shoulders together. Good. Now curl the toes. Shift the weight back just a little bit. Hover the knees. Downward dog. Give yourself distance on the mat if you need it. Pedal out those heels or maybe lift up just a few times to kind of release any tension. Breathe deep. Good. Now gaze forward and walk or hop so that you meet the hands. Sometimes we meet in the middle and then we just got to kind of walk the hands and feet closer together and then walk it up to the front of your mat. Good. So look down. Make sure that your feet are underneath of your hips and they're parallel with each other and the mat. Now begin to come up to a flat back, drawing hands onto the legs or maybe fingertips, but draw the shoulders together. Lengthen from the tailbone out through the neck, gazing down, and then exhale, fold back into your legs. Good. Soften the shoulders. Now bend your knees here. As you do, start to sink your hips down and back. Then the chest is going to peel up and off of those thighs as your arms come up to try and frame the ears. Sometimes they're not there. Good. Then come all the way up to stand as hands come around and into prayer. Good. Engage the core. Lift the arms up and overhead. Tuck the tailbone, slight back bend if it's there for you. And then exhale, fold back into your legs. Good. As you fold back into your legs, pedal out those legs if you need to. Soften the shoulders. Release the neck. Good. We're going to do that 2 more times. So when you're ready, come up to your flat back. Shoulders together, lengthening from the spine, gazing down. Fold back into those legs. Now bend those knees, sinking the hips down and back. Chest then peeling up and off of those legs as the arms come up to frame. Draw the core in. And come all the way up to stand as arms and hands come around and the hands come into prayer. Good. Reach those arms back up and overhead. Tilt the pelvic. Draw the core in. Slight back bend if it's there for you. And then exhale, fold into your legs one last time. Good. I might have said we were going to do that one more time, but we're not. So shift your weight over to the left. Bend those knees as much as you need so the hands can come down to the mat. If you have blocks, maybe that's a good option for you as well. Now as you shift over to the left, draw the right foot behind you. Always checking in. Make sure that knee is in line with the ankle. It's not tracking. Good. Now make sure that back heel is lifted for now. Sometimes we automatically want to draw it down, but keep it up. Use your core. Come up to your top thigh when you feel balanced. From here, hands on thighs, but push from the front foot into the back foot. So that heel is trying to ground down even though it's lifted. This front foot is pressing in, and that knee is able to kind of come forward but not tracking past that ankle. As your hands are on hips, now slowly draw this back heel down. Good. And come into a position where you feel good, but your heels are in line with one another. So you might have saw I was like kind of hopping. I just wanted to make sure that my heels were in line. Good. Sometimes it's easier to move this front foot than the back foot. Good. Hands are still on hips, but now you notice you can kind of open up to this side, to this right side. Keep actively opening up the left leg so that it doesn't come inward, and that you're seeing this nice kind of, line with the knee. It's almost like it's pointing to your second toe and your third toe. Good. Keep pushing into the outer edge of the back foot. And now sometimes we want to buckle that back knee. See if you can lengthen and kind of create a nice length through that leg. Good. Draw the core in. Now you have all these things happening. Draw your arms up to a T. And check. Sometimes that back arm likes to float down. And then I always like to, I know this sounds funny, but I look down at my chest and I notice is one side forward than the other. So sometimes you can notice and you just kind of shift a little bit, like creating a nice line, not only through the arms, but through the chest. Now see if you can keep the body still, but gaze forward at that hand. Good, so you're in warrior two. Keep checking in, front leg, back leg, arms, core. Good. Now we're just gonna move this front knee a few times. So straighten the leg and bend the knee. Try not to move through the hips, through the midline, but just moving through the knee. And the hips may move just a little bit because it just happens. You'll notice it in this back hip. Good. Just begin to straighten and bend a few times. Good. Next time you bend, pause. This back arm, draw it onto the back leg. Reach up with the front arm, but draw that shoulder back. Good. Come back into your warrior two. Use your core, arms back out at T. Check in. This front arm, now you're going to start to hinge forward first. So if you notice, I'm starting to draw that arm forward. Bend the knee, bend the elbow, draw that forearm down onto that thigh. Reach up with that back arm. Draw the shoulder back so you're not falling forward, but you're opening. Engage the hands, don't let them hang out, and keep pushing through both feet. Inhale, using your core, come back into your warrior two. Check in. All right, so now we're just gonna dance the warrior, which is what we just did. Arm comes back, top arm comes up, but you pull that shoulder kind of to the left so you're opening up. Then come back into warrior two. Make sure that front knee's bent at this point. Arms lengthening. Then start to hinge forward first, then bend the elbow, reach that top arm back. Good. Begin to flow through your warrior two. Your dancing of the warrior. Don't feel rushed. And if you start to become unbalanced, shift that awareness back into your body. Check in. Where's your effort? Where's your ease? And where is your energy being placed? Where's that mind wandering to? Good. One more time. When that hand comes back, pause. Breathe deep. Check in. What's happening? Where's your effort? Where's your ease? Where are you lengthening? Good. One more breath. Come into warrior two. Come into a place where you can breathe. Soften and check in. Where's your alignment? Where's your effort and where's your ease? Maybe put a little smile on the face because you are a warrior. Feel it. Own it. Good. Now start to hinge forward, reaching that arm, that front arm forward, then bending the elbow, letting it come onto that thigh. Reach up with that back arm. Draw that back shoulder back. If you want a little extra effort, you can hover that arm on the leg, reaching it out like you're holding a platter. Breathe. Keep drawing the core in and find your effort and ease. Good. Slowly come up. Hands on hips. Good. Now straighten that leg, that front leg. Now what you're going to do is, just to make it a little easier, you're going to rotate this left foot. So the foot is going to now point towards the long edge. This back heel, if it was kind of quarter at an angle, start to draw it to the long edge, and then rotate the heel so that the toes are pointing out to the short edge. Settle in and make sure that your heels are in line with one another. Good. You're going to open the hip. It just happens naturally. Get your feet in the position that they need. I like a little angle on my back foot so that I can really ground into that outer edge. Hands on hips. Bend the front knee. Straighten it. Bend it, just like we did on the other side. Notice what's happening. Try not to move through the torso, but just through the legs, a little bit through the hips. If you notice this knee is starting to track over the ankle, give yourself a little more distance. That's okay. If this back knee is buckling, see if you can lengthen that leg. It doesn't need to be kind of locked in the knee, but just to feel a little more lengthen happen. Good. Now bend the knee and pause. Draw your arms out at T, and just like before, check in. Check in with the chest, check in with the arms. Check in with the legs. Good. Breathe. Gaze forward at that front arm. Even though we've switched, now this is the front and the left is the back. Good. Draw this back arm onto the leg. Reach up with the top arm. Draw the shoulder back though. Don't kind of fold forward. Keep opening and lifting. Good. Come back into warrior two. Keep using your core. Check in. Now hinge forward. So reaching with that right arm, reach it forward. Then bend the elbow, let it come onto the leg as that back arm reaches up, but pull the shoulder back a little bit so you're opening. Breathe. Keep pushing into that back foot. Inhale, use your core, come back into warrior two. So now you're just going to dance the warrior like you did. Yourself to flow through these movements. Keep breathing deep and keep checking in. If at any point you start to feel unstable, you start to become unbalanced, check in. Pause. Come back to warrior two and ask yourself, where's your energy being placed? Where's your effort and ease? Where's your foundation? Good. One more movement. Don't feel rushed. And when that back arm comes onto the back leg, come into a place where you can pause. Check into what's happening. Where's your effort? Where's your core? Where's your ease? Like how I slipped in core. One more breath. Come into your warrior two. Check in, soften, release, but add your effort through the legs, through the core, through the spine. Good. Now hinge forward. Reach that front arm forward. Then bend the elbow onto the thigh. Reach up with that back arm. Use your core here. Again, if you want that extra effort and you want to hover this arm, reaching out like you're holding a platter, do so. But keep really drawing that core in to protect the back. Good. Slowly come back, hands on hips. Release that leg. And then bring the feet parallel with each other and the mat. Good. If you need to kind of Wiggle out feet, that's okay, but then just come back to being wide. All right, make sure that the feet are parallel, and sometimes it feels awkward, but you're gonna kind of push to the outer edges of the mat. Good. Hands on hips, reach the arms up and overhead, and then exhale, start to fold forward, coming down to the floor. Good, soften out the shoulders, relax and release. Good, now come up to a flat back, and then fold. Now what you're gonna do is come into a downward dog with wide legs. So you're just gonna walk the hands forward. The heels may lift or maybe they won't, but you're gonna come into a place where you're kind of in this V. You can push back with the chest and kind of relax. Breathe. Soften shoulders. If you need to rotate the hands up, you might be able to see them here. Oh, you can't. So you might have to rotate the hands a little bit like that so that you feel a little more grounded. Good. Walk it gently back. The heels come back. Then you're gonna go the opposite way. So these hands are gonna walk back towards that opposite edge of your mat. They might not touch, maybe they do. Breathe. You can always flip the palms back, or up, should I say, so that you kind of release, you're not gripping, then you're releasing the shoulders. Good, come back to center. Come up to a flat back one more time. Gently release down. One more downward dog. Walk it forward. Push the feet back. Hips up, chest kind of pushing back. Shoulders coming away from the ears. Rotate the hands if you need to, if you're gripping or you're slipping. Good. One more deep breath. You got it. Walk it back. Then walk the hands back behind you. Give yourself that stretch you need, and again, you can flip the palms if that's a little more helpful. Breathe deep. Good. Slowly come back to center. Bend the knees a little bit, hands on hips, and come on up. Good. All right. So now, this front leg, which is your left, heel in, toes pointing towards that short edge. But what you're going to do is take this left foot and walk it closer to the left edge. So now the heels should not be in line with one another. And rotate if you want that back heel. Some people like it to be kind of diagonal, and some people like a little bit of an angle. Now we're getting into warrior one. So if you notice, my hips are way open and I can't get them to close. So maybe you just walk that foot over a little bit more. And you'll start to notice, just as I did, you start to come in to warrior one. Good. So a lot of times we need to shorten our stance in warrior one. So as you notice, I kind of hop that foot back just a little bit, but you want to make sure your front knee is not going to track over that ankle. So you might move a few times and adjust where the feet are, bringing that heel closer. Good. So once the hips can be squared, which means they're just kind of in line with your hip, with your mat. You can bend that front knee. Good. Raise those arms up to frame the ears. Breathe deep. So we open the hip, and now we're kind of closing it once again. We're just working through the legs, the hips, and a little bit through the shoulders, as well as through the core. Now straighten that front leg. Draw the shoulders together. Try to keep the back as flat as you can, and pause when you get to a spot where you feel it rounding. So if you can get to here, pause here. If you're up a little bit higher, that is okay. Keep drawing the core in. Gently reach back up with the arms and bend that front knee. Good. Keep using the core, lengthen the leg. Start to hinge forward. Again, if you start to round here, pause here, that's okay. But if you can get to about halfway, where you're gazing down at your mat, you can see your feet, or your foot, should I say. The arms are kind of framing yours. Pause here. Draw the core in. Come back up to your warrior one. Bend the knee. Good, very last time. So when you're ready, straighten the leg, draw the core in. Try to keep that flat back. Keep going until you get to that spot. Breathe. Good, come back up to warrior one. Bend the knee, breathe. Keep pushing into that back foot. Good, hands on hips, straighten that front leg. And then you're gonna start to rotate the feet little bit by little bit so that you can now, they're parallel with each other once again. If you need to make any little movements, kind of bending, releasing the ankle, do so. Sometimes just kind of releasing off and then bringing the feet back is okay. Good. So now we're getting set up for the next side. Heel down, toes turn towards that short edge. Now this check in. We automatically, like I am in line. So I'm gonna walk my right foot over to the edge the best I can. And for me, I was a little too much close to that edge, so I had to walk this foot forward a little bit. But you wanna get to a place where, I like to have that little bit of an angle where your hips will start to rotate. Good. So I'm just gonna hop my foot because I didn't want to be off the mat. I wanted to make sure I was still stable. All right. Draw the core in, bend the front knee. If it goes past the ankle, give yourself a little more distance through the feet. Good. Keep drawing that core in. Reach the arms up to frame the ears. You're in warrior one on the other side. Now straighten the leg, draw the core in, begin to hinge forward. And this side might feel different. But again, if you start to round here, pause. Come back up to where you can be flat. If you can come down a little bit further, do so. Come into a place where you can still draw the core in. You're feeling like you're lengthening. Good, then come all the way back up to warrior one. When you do, bend that front knee. Keep drawing the core in. Good, straighten the leg, hinge forward, leaning, drawing the shoulders together, drawing the core together, and keep pushing into this back leg. Good, come back up, bend the front knee. Good, do this a few times. You did it on the other side, so you know how to explore it. It just might feel different. Good, one last time. So when you're ready, the next time you hinge forward, come into a place where you can pause. The leg is straight, the arms are lengthened, you're gazing down. You have this flat back occurring, so you're drawing the core in. Good, keep breathing deep. Good, bend the knee, come back up to warrior one. Arms up to frame, core engaged, hips are squared to the mat. Breathe. Good, hands on hips. Now, I know we're completely opposite of how we started, but start to slowly walk this foot back to center and then hop this back foot to meet the front. Wiggle out the body. It's got some movement. It's probably feeling good. All right, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold into your legs. Notice how different you may feel here. Make sure your feet are parallel underneath of the hips. Bend your knees, sink the hips down and back. The chest starts to peel up as the arms frame. Engage the core, then come up to stand as arms come around and into prayer. Reach those arms back up and overhead and fold into your legs. Good. Now bend as much as you need so the feet can come back into downward dog. Pedal out those legs. Might feel good after everything we fed it through warrior two, dancing it to warrior one, into dancing that warrior one. Good. Now draw the knees down onto the mat and go into a child's pose of your choice, which just means you can be knees wide or knees together. As you come back, soften and release. Breathe deep. Good. Come to hands and knees. Knees back underneath of hips if you drew them wide. And then for you, whatever's easiest, just start to come over and onto your back. Make sure there's no props in the way. Good. Now we're gonna get set up for windshield wipes. So arms out at T. Bend the knees and allow the feet to walk wide so they come to the long edges. Tuck the chin, draw the core in. Good. Soften the shoulders, relax the jaw. If you keep bringing tension back into it, I am your reminder. Exhale, lower your knees to the right and gaze to the left, or maybe it's just the eyes gazing to the left. Inhale, come back to center, knees and head. Re-engage, realign. We did this at the beginning, so you know what to do. You know how to set up. And if you don't, just pause. Check back in. Check in with the breathing. Check in with your engagement. And then notice which areas you're holding tension into and how you can soften and release them. But let your breath move the body. Good. The next time your knees come to the right, pause. Don't feel rushed. But once you get there, find where you want that effort and find where you want that ease. And breathe deep. Come back to center, realign, readjust. Come over to the left. Again, just finding your effort and ease. Breathing deep and checking in. Take a deep breath, come back to center. Good. Walk the feet in closer. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Wrap the arms around, give yourself a little hug, a little lift through the head if that's what you want, and maybe even a little rock side to side. And you might notice, oh, that feels different than in windshield wipes. So just be aware of that, what you're feeling, what changes, those sensations, the energy, all of it. Good. Then slow the movement, coming back to center, back at stillness. You can either keep your hands here or draw the arms out at T, but engage the feet a little bit, engage the thighs and the core. Just begin to go in a circular motion around the hips with the knees. If the movement becomes fast, slow the breath and let it become a slower movement with that breath. Good. When the knees come in, slow the movement, re-engage, realign, opposite direction. So it's always good to switch up which direction you go into. Keep the breath deep, the movement slow. One more circle. And once those knees get back in, slow down, pause, draw the legs onto the mat. Good. Give yourself a nice little lengthen through those legs and then rebend those knees. Good. Now let the thighs touch and let the feet come wide to where they feel comfortable. So the thighs are together, the knees wide. It's kind of opposite of windshield wipes. Instead of them being open, they're just stuck kind of together. Now draw the arms up and overhead and interlace the fingers. As you interlace, start to go in a circular motion just like you did with the hips with the arms. So they'll come down one side, around the belly, to the opposite side, and then up and overhead. Try not to grip the hands and let the head just kind of roll with if it naturally wants to. Again, deepen the breath and check into what's happening. Good. One more circle, and when the arms come up and overhead, slow that movement. Good, now palms, flip them, reach back, give yourself a little stretch, and then the palms come back towards the head. Good, switch up your interlace. So sometimes you gotta draw the hands in front and see which finger's in front, and then just begin to slowly switch the fingers. Good. Back up and overhead, in opposite direction with your circles. They come down one side, around the belly, the other side, and then back up and overhead. Keep breathing deep. Keep checking in. And keep using a little core. Good. One more circle with the arms around the body. And when those arms come back up and overhead, pause. One more time. Flip the palms back, stretch, and then palms back towards the head. Good. Now at this time, if there's any last movements you would like to explore before going into Shavasana, please give yourself that time. You can pause the video or just take a few moments. Now, once you are ready for Shavasana, find whatever you need. So if you notice, I put a blanket over my toes. They've been cold lately, and so they just kind of want to be covered. Sometimes you want a blanket for the head or a little pillow. Sometimes our knees want a little pillow, a bolster, or a blanket. If you have an eye pillow, you can grab it to draw it over the eyes. It's a very comfortable thing to help kind of release all the distractions and to help you kind of relax as well. So take a moment, get set up, get settled in, get relaxed, and in your Shavasana. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relax the body completely and close the eyes. Enjoy your Shavasana, and I will call you out when it's time. breath in. Take a deep breath out. Begin to awaken the body little bit by stretching, rolling wrists and ankles, maybe fingers and toes, knees and elbows, maybe even through the shoulders and the neck. And then just roll over onto your favorite side when you're ready. Take a deep breath and then use that hand pressing against the floor. Push yourself gently up. And then you can open the eyes back to the room. Hands together in prayer. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for feeding your body this practice, giving yourself this time, and listening to it. Really listening, finding that effort, that ease, which is a balancing act. But you did it, and you did great. I hope that you go out and have a wonderful time, a wonderful day, and you just feel great inside your body, inside and out. The light in me acknowledges that beautiful divine light that is also in you. We are connected and we share that. We are one. Namaste.